Would you talk to the doctor? Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Talk to the Doctor. And I'm here today with Crosby Colapinto, pro surfer, San Clementian, and world tour attacker. Let's do this. Good to see you, Cros.
Yeah, doctor. What's up?
Awesome, man. So stoked to have you in the studio.
Yeah, thank
you. You know what I want to do? I want to just go dive straight into your childhood. Like, when did you first feel like you connected with the idea that you wanted to surf? Like, how old were you when you first jumped on a board?
Honestly, I don't even really remember because my dad had a surf camp down at Pochi, just right down the road from us, and I felt like I just grew up there, and I don't really remember exact time I stood up on the board for my first time, but I know I was down there in diapers and just hanging with him and being around that whole vibe of just being around a surf camp. But I feel like when surfing really hit me for the first time, I feel like it was from competing, because I lost in a nationals down at Lowers, and I remember Griffin came up to me after, and I was just so bummed, and I'm competitive, super competitive, so I just was so pissed that I lost and was so rattled. And Griffin came up to me and was like, hey, if you want to keep doing this, you gotta surf way more. And I feel like that was the first time that it really switched on for me, and I was like, oh, I want to become a pro surfer. And I just feel like that moment for me was the one that really stands out, and I can remember that I was just oh, I want to do this, I want to be a pro surfer. I think I was 13 at the time. And then after that, that's when I feel like I fell in love with surfing, because I saw the progress of surfing a lot and how good I got quick from putting in 4 hours every day. Mm-hmm. And that's when I felt I really dropped into falling in love with surfing, when I started surfing more and falling in love with the whole process of getting better, and each day doing a maneuver I couldn't do a week ago, and being oh my gosh, I can do that. And watching pro surfers like Mick Fanning and going out to Lowers and trying to surf like him, and then seeing the footage and being whoa, that kind of looked like the clip I was watching. So that's kind of the first memory that I have of falling in love with it.
Really clicking into gear. Yeah. And you're how old now?
24.
So that was 11 years ago, really, if you think about it, right?
Yeah.
You're claiming you're around 13 then?
Yeah.
Do you remember what event that was? That was at Lowers, you said? Was that a nationals or a NSSA thing? What was that?
It was a U.S. Champs.
Oh, yeah, U.S.
Lowers.
Champs. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And you had you had a shocker, or you just kind of were just, what happened?
I just wasn't that good at the time. I didn't really, I like surfing because my dad and brother would do it. And I just grew up competitive because that's just in our blood.
Yeah.
So I hated losing, and I was down there, and I just wasn't really taking it. I don't think there was the love for it at the time. But then the losing side, built a fire inside me, and then that's when the Griffin and I had the conversation. That's when it really switched on for me.
And how old is Griffin above you?
3 years.
Okay.
3 years old.
So you're 13, he's 16.
Yeah.
Right? And that's that's a pretty proper split right there, right?
Yeah.
Your 16-year-old brother who was pretty clicked in by then?
Yeah, he was on the QS, and he was just about to start traveling with brother and Michael Dunphy and Evan Geiselman on the QS and stuff. So he already knew what he wanted to do, and he was already all in on becoming a pro surfer and going in that trajectory, and starting to get paid and stuff, and was becoming his own pro surfer, so he had the wisdom, and he kind of passed it down to me, and then from that moment too, I felt I just listened to him every single time he would tell me something, or try and help me out. I'd just listen, because from that time I was wow, Griffin was right with surfing more. And after that, I just was all right, whatever Griffin tells me, I'm going to listen. And it's gotten me to where I am now. So I'm stoked that I listened, and that I have him too.
Really cool, because obviously he's such a cool guy. I mean, he's just he's very unique, Yeah. And he's such a good guy. And to be his little brother, who, are you taller than him now?
Yeah. That happened when I was 16.
You just went, would you?
Yeah.
And so just that's the funny part. But anyway, so it interests me because the dynamic of brother surfing dynamic, right?
Mhm.
Like we know throughout history, there's these classic, obviously there's the Irons brothers, that's a classic dynamic, right?
Yeah.
And then there's the Lopez brothers, there's the Fletchers, there's all these like different, and it goes on and on. I don't want to leave any out, but we'd be here all day.
Yeah.
So the thing is that there's some classic brother kind of what the dynamic was. And I feel like for you guys, that's obviously been a real positive thing. Let me ask you this. Was there any sports in your life before surfing? Like, did you play any other sports, or was it just so you surfed, but you kind of were like, did you play any other sports?
We kind of grew up doing we kind of dabbled in everything. Like we played we were so little, but we played like soccer and baseball, and I think maybe a little bit of football, but that went out the window pretty quick.
Yeah.
When we were probably 7 or 8.
Because you liked surfing.
Yeah.
And just all that stuff wasn't for you.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
you did like Little League, or was it just like in school
I think
during
it was
recess?
No, I think it was a little league.
Cool.
Our dads in the cul-de-sac were coaches, and we had our Dodgers uniforms and stuff. But
Yeah.
it just I hated being just standing out there in pants and in the whole uniform, and just I remember just not being able to do that, and just and then surfing was always so much better,
so much more free.
Yeah.
For one, you go to the beach, you got your trunks on. There's there's no no uniform with coaches and you're late, give me 50 push-ups. You're shut up. I mean, I'm just saying it doesn't. Surfers are essentially free-spirited people, I think.
For sure.
And the reason they are good is because they were able to captivate that free-spiritedness and really bring discipline into the freeness of surfing, right? Mm-hmm. So many people, obviously millions of people surf, but were they able to really, really just kind of run it in such a way where they became so focused, so trained, so mentally, disciplined to be able to really like what you said earlier, learning a new trick I didn't know last week, just keep pushing and pushing. And that's what I think what separates so much on teams. I feel like, coaches and all this stuff, it kind of just becomes a whole different dynamic. Well, obviously we know with Sam, right? I mean, there's people who have crushed it, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm just saying we have this San Clemente that just won won the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
it's
psycho.
So bizarre
Crazy.
to me.
So
we're just
crazy.
such a successful surf town, and we do have we actually have really good teams from this town of all kinds of sports, but we're known because we pretty much bring a lot of talent to the world of surfing, and we always have. I'm very proud of that.
Yeah.
Throughout, ever since my era, ever since the eras before us, there was a world champion that no one really knows about. I always do the trivia, no one gets it, so I'll just say it without doing it. But there was a guy, 1972, a man named Rolf Arness, that won a world title from San Clemente.
Oh wow!
Yeah, no one even knows that. Right? It's a
You
little bit
didn't
of
test me on
trivia
that,
for but it's just always been there, and I feel like there's something in the water here. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's because this. I mean, what town has 4 minimum point breaks?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Cottons, Uppers, Lowers, Churches, right there. Boom, 4 point breaks right there. Right on the south edge of our town, right?
Yeah.
And then a lot of guys are like, Lowers has no locals. I'm like, well, that's funny. We walk there.
Yeah.
Or we ride our bicycles there. You guys drive and then ride your bikes there, or whatever. But we actually do live here, so a little bit of love. And but also then there's, when Mariposa's on, which isn't as much nowadays, but what an incredibly world-class wave in its prime. State Park. I mean, we just really have Cotton's, T Street, the Pier. I mean, we have a really unique array of spots here, like there's beach breaks, reef breaks, point breaks, all here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think and then also we have people, we love to surf here. It's like if you came from Aspen, pretty sure you're going to love to ski or snowboard.
Yeah.
It's just what else are you going to do here, right?
Such a surf town.
And then Sam Darnold comes out of San Clemente and just crushes it, and he just won the Super Bowl. I'm not going to get enough of that for a long time because he's in our kind of mix, and he's young. He's in his 20s, and I'm so proud.
So sick, yeah.
He's such an athlete, and he's such a humble human, and I think that's another thing we have. I really want to say I feel our town breeds good people, people that aren't dicks. There's a lot of towns where you just go, wow, they just kind of, they're more protective, people come here, we're pretty friendly.
Yeah.
you know, and maybe we get abused a little bit like that down at the points. You know, they don't show enough respect for this is our home.
Yeah.
But, you know, and they come running through here or whatever. But you know what? We're pretty welcoming. We're pretty nice. There's places you can go, whatever. I don't even need to mention the names. Just certain towns where they have a reputation of being a lot more pissed off that you showed up. You know?
100%. Yeah.
Like, and that's cool too. I get it. They want to protect their deal. But we're pretty welcoming. We're pretty nice. And the bottom line is, we love surfing in this town. And then you guys sprout from that. I mean, you sprouted from your family that loves surfing, your dad and the surf camp and the whole thing. Okay, check this out. Question of the week. Who do you think's going to win the Margaret's contest this year, ladies and gentlemen? Drop us a comment below. Let us know what you think. Back to the episode. Okay, so you were 13. You were kind of, you know, and then Griffin made his speech, came in hot. And you said, all right, okay, you clicked. You kind of went, yeah, okay. And then the trajectory between there and now, like, can we talk a bit about that journey, right? I guess it would be the journey to qualify, right?
Yeah.
To go from a 13-year-old Grom who wasn't really clicked in yet to the 13-and-a-half-year-old Grom that clicked in and went, let's do this.
Yeah.
And then you qualified by what age initially?
I think I was 21 and on tour when I was 22. So
okay, within 8 or 9 years, you went from just clicking in to clicking in.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Clicked in on tour.
Yeah.
And what a buzz that must be.
Oh yeah, it's a funny like trajectory because I felt like after Griffin kind of had that talk, I listened to him. I started surfing way more, and then I came back to that same contest the very next year, and then I won it. And then I was like, holy shit, this is working. Like, I'm all in. I'm surfing a bunch. I'm training. I'm just fired up on getting better. And then, like, through the kind of the amateurs, like the U.S. champs and the NSSAs, like, I did pretty well. Like, came back to Lures and won a couple more years there. And then I was like, oh, this is mental, like, on the pro junior circuit, doing well in that. And then I remember, like, I went to the QS, and right as I got to the QS, I was surfing with, like, guys from all around the world that are like every age. And I remember showing up and just going from being like a confident little junior to getting there and surfing with all these older guys and just going like, I'm fucked. Like I have no confidence against all these guys. I don't know what, it was like a mental thing.
Sure.
Like I showed up as people from all around the world, and like, I just felt like I was such a little kid and like didn't deserve to be there, and just was like fully like a mental just like let down.
A little bit of intimidated.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of intimidated.
Yeah,
right?
and felt like immature and not ready and stuff. And then COVID hit.
Like you were how old at that time?
I think I was maybe 17 or 18.
Okay.
Around then.
18? You know, give me some names that you felt that way, but like who were those people?
I felt like I just got there and there's just a lot of like, I don't even remember like the certain guys, but it was a lot of guys who were just older, like on the challengers, on the like doing the 10,000 and stuff. Like Michael Dunphy was there, Evan Geiselman.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Young,
okay, yeah.
Like, a lot, and then also guys from like Oz that were older, Matt Vantine, Jacob Wilcox, a bunch of guys. And I just didn't feel ready. But then COVID happened, and then we came home and we just were like here for so long, you know, like we were just landlocked in San Clemente, and which was actually nice. We got to surf a bunch, and then it was kind of like we started getting like antsy and want to start to do surf trips because there's nothing really else to do. And we ended up going down to Mexico and scoring waves down there and getting like big barrels with Cade Jet and I.
Sick.
And that was kind of like my first like real like strike mission where we went down there and I kind of like was able to push myself in
Where in Mex?
Down in Pasquales.
Sick. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is it fair to say that's your crew right there? Like coming up, like I was going to ask, like, I mean, I kind of know, but I'm just curious for the audience to know, like, you know, who's your boys in your pack coming up like that? I know you mentioned Cade, Jet. I mean, I think that's a given, right?
Yeah, Cade, Jet,
right?
Cole, Taj, Griffin. Cannon Carr is like a little. He's like our little little guy, you know. He's like our little prodigy. Yeah. Little brother. That's coming up with us.
He is coming up.
Yeah.
Good for Cannon. Yeah, he's coming up. Yeah, that's quite the Rat Pack right there. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really a good group of guys, and they're all on a mission.
Oh yeah.
Every single person you mentioned is credible names. You know?
Yeah.
They're not just wannabes in any way, shape, or form. They're full credible.
Yeah.
And you, of course, now back on the tour, my man.
Yeah.
I mean, requalified last year, made the cut, you know, right? And then here just for a full year and no more cut.
Yep. No more cut.
Gosh, it's like, okay. You know, because we know a couple guys back in the day that, you know, they fell to the cut. Like Nate Yeomans fell to the cut. I believe it was Tanner Gadauskas fell to the cut.
I think Tanner did.
Yeah,
yes.
and then someone else. But anyways, a couple guys fell to the cut. And, you know, I just always felt, if I'm talking about the cut, I always feel like, man, you spend your whole everything about your existence trying to qualify. Just give me my year, man.
Yeah.
I mean, don't even make it like halfway through. I could get cut because I don't even know. Whatever, I get it. Then you get the last half of the years, you know, less guys, and it's more impactful. But I don't know. I just feel like you deserve a rightful year because some people don't click in for a couple contests.
Yeah.
You know?
100%.
Gosh, it's like, so wow. But anyway, so here we are now, and you've gone through that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So kind of jumping forward a little bit, I think we covered that pretty well. Let's talk about on the way to qualifying though still. Let's rewind a little bit. Because you're coming up, you're in the QS, and then that's when they switched to with the challengers and the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
And how did you, so you were, at first, you showed up on the QS, you felt a little intimidated, right? Against these kind of more established, older guy names. Not old, but, you know, older.
Yeah.
And
great. Just good surfers.
Yeah, good surfers with, you know, and you're kind of a Grom still going, damn. And then at what point did you click in on that? Like, what switched where you felt that way? But then, like, did Griffin come give another speech?
Kind of, yeah, he did a little bit. I mean, he's always been like kind of like my closest mentor. Like, I mean, he's my older brother, so we're with each other all the time, but he was always like kind of helping me, and you know, he was super straight up with me. Like, if I wasn't ready and I thought I was ready, he'd be like, you're not ready, or like, you need to do this in order to qualify. So he was always like very straight up with me. Like, and even if it would hurt, a lot of the times I'd be like, fuck, like, that's eggy, I gotta work on this. But it was good.
Yes.
I needed to hear it, and I think that's what everyone needs to do, you know, like, everyone needs to hear the truth. But I was actually very like fortunate enough, COVID happened, and I was able to go to Indo with Kalohe. He took me on a boat trip, and like we got out there somehow. He was able to like connect with guys in Indo, and we got the visas, got out there, and that was like the best trip of my life. We went on a 22-day boat trip, and it was like good waves every single day. And I'm super grateful for brother for taking me on that, because that's like, I felt like that really helped my surfing go from like here to here, just surfing with like him and Griffin and Crane and Luke
on waves like that.
Yeah.
And the footage, I mean, dude, the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my God.
Yeah, it was psycho.
It's insane. I remember coming over and watching some of the rough cuts when he was cutting it, right?
Yeah.
And I was coming over to Dino's and watching with you guys. And I was just sitting there I don't know if you remember, I was like, because I haven't been able to surf with my shoulder in quite a while. And I'm in there just because I feel that, you know, God, I want to get in the water, but I have to contain that because otherwise it drive me crazy, right? I think I'm doing pretty good, not going nuts. Yeah. I mean, maybe that's what I think. Maybe someone else thinks I am nuts. I don't know. But either way is fine with me. But I remember being in there just getting so psyched on surfing and screaming my heart out, just because I could feel the joy of just being on those reef breaks in the middle of nowhere with just your friends. Oh. And tell me the title of that again.
Reckless Isolation.
Oh my gosh, that's exactly perfectly titled. I mean, you guys look like you're having so much fun and really, really working on your surfing. But from a joyful place, but like really getting better, like really pushing it deeper and just doing everything a surfer would dream to do on waves like that. And you feel like that was a seminal moment in a sense in your life, right?
100%. Yeah. I think just being able to be surfing waves that good with no one out, having that much repetition, surfing probably 8 hours every day. It was just like, when you go on those surf trips and you surf that much and you're around good surfers and you're watching footage and you're getting pushed that much, and then you're with Dino, who's like the biggest surf god ever, critic, like, and he's also like helping you. And I remember like, even brother was giving me tips, like on my backhand, we were surfing macaronis, and I remember he was like, hey, you just got to stay lower and like keep your arm lower. And I remember that helped me a lot with my backhand. So like, even just like that, like I was a little brother on the trip, and I had all the older brothers, and they're all like pushing me so much. And I think just when you go on trips like that, you come home and then you're like, or you come home and you also go to other places or surf around here and you're like, you go surf and you're like, wow, I got a lot better. You're like, it like surf trips make you good quick. And
I agree with that. And what's amazing about that one was it was all on camera.
Yeah.
So it's like, not only did that happen, because that's happened for me a bunch of times, but I didn't have a cameras there. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm going, wait a second. I'm like, what's up? But then, you don't have the footage to actually like witness it.
Yeah.
And go, whoa. Like, so the footage that I saw you having it, like I didn't see, like that was at the point where I went, Crosby's right there with him.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see any, Grom. No,
Yeah.
I didn't see that. I saw, and I've been, really watching your surfing coming up. As I'm a huge fan of surfing. I've been in the water my whole life. And you could tell that you kind of came into like young manhood. Like you kind of were like, I don't know, you just felt like you were ready to go. What I think is right after that trip, you went to Hawaii and were surfing waves at Backdoor.
Oh,
that just
yeah.
fucking blew my mind.
Yeah,
I was going, holy shit! I could see like you were just wet.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not saying you're cocky, but just like you didn't look intimidated.
Yeah.
I think you really charged it. Not that you weren't before, but I feel like there was a moment where I was just going, whoa, Crosby's pissed. Like you just looked like you were just. Yeah, I feel like you went to Hawaii with some sort of extra like. Maybe the waves were really good there at that time too. What was happening, I don't know. But I saw like solid. I want to say 8-foot backdoor.
Yeah, I think so. We'll just say that. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
But
no one talks about 10-foot backdoor. Right?
Yeah.
It's 8-foot backdoor
Yeah.
or it's kind of closed out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
8-foot backdoor to me is just it's just so much bigger than it sounds. It's so much gnarlier than it sounds. It's such a guttural, like it should just be like,
Yeah.
I feel like that takes a lot of confidence.
Yeah. Going into that winter was pretty sick because like obviously I came straight from Indo. I literally was in Indo for like 2 or 3 months and then came home for like probably a couple of days and went straight to Hawaii. So I was just on a surf bender for like 6 months. And I went there and that was like the best winter I've ever seen there. And it was COVID. So there was barely anyone from other countries. It was kind of everyone from Hawaii and the US. So I was surfing a lot of off the wall and there'd be like no one out there. So that was epic getting the reps in there. And then also like pipe and backdoor was so good for such a good amount of time that by the time like it was like the 5th day of firing waves, a lot of the locals were kind of like gassed by that time. So it was like a lot of time we were surfing out there with like not that bad of a crowd. It was still crowded, but it was like wasn't that bad. So we were able to kind of get waves that winter. And I remember Griffin and I had like a pretty fun winter together of like pushing each other, and we just started working with Tommy Witz there too, and he helped me a lot because we were surfing Haleiwa and Rockies and backdoor and stuff, and he was kind of just going like, just don't be afraid to fall, just like push your surfing, go for big grab rails, like do carves that you're not going to make. And then like from that, I wasn't scared to fall. He's like, treat it like it's T-Street, like go out to Haleiwa, treat it like it's T-Street.
Damn.
And from that helped me a lot too, because then I had that mindset and started like doing better surfing on bigger waves and like starting to try to treat the lips like T-Street. I mean, obviously not like treating it exactly like T-Street, but just trying to like go with the flow of the wave and then also hit the lip like and not being scared of it. And that's taught me with the timing and everything. So I was like, it was a sick winter.
Yeah, it was very evident.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, it was not only, but it was documented as well.
Yeah.
I mean, there was footage on wherever I saw it. I just kept going, whew, damn. Whatever. I'm just super stoked because, I've mentioned today on the mic is that, I'm not just a fan of our guys. Like, I mean, obviously I'm a San Clementian. Okay?
Yeah.
But, there's other guys on tour that, I'm always been enamored over. And I just definitely kind of really see like we're in the mix.
Yeah.
We're properly in the mix.
Oh, yeah.
So everyone else can fuck off because here we are.
Yeah.
Okay, you like it or not. When we were growing up, the first year in my high school, graduation year was the first year they had the school surf teams, And we surfed against Huntington that year, and we beat Huntington that year, okay? And that's always been this thing, like it's just been there's. I think if from what I understand, I basically know this, but I don't know the exact numbers. The most amount of times that the high school surf teams competed in a final was us in Huntington.
Uh-huh.
And I'm pretty sure we hold more than them as far as the wins.
Yeah.
All right. And so there's just something to be said for, and I want to throw it out there. Like I said earlier, like we have point breaks, reef breaks, beach breaks. I mean, nothing against Huntington. Okay. When I go visit next time, I don't want you guys to beat me up. But the thing is that they got all beach breaks. It's all good. And they're sick beach breaks.
Yeah.
Huntington's sick. It's got raw swell. It gets way more swell than we do, right? It gets a lot more wind too. But I mean, there's just there's great waves in Huntington. But it's all, is there even a point break there?
I think it's just all beach breaks.
It's all beach break,
yeah.
right? And it's good beach break. But
Yeah.
that's what I think gives us that different kind of, and then we have this whole kind of way our town is and the way their town is. It's such a archetypal differences of towns. And I love all those guys. I got no beef with them, but I'm just saying, I'm proud.
Yeah.
And I think we have a reason to be, but not be arrogant, but just be always trying harder. And that's what I think our crew, every arrow that came from here always had their crew kind of, that's what we do here, right? So there's you, and on the progression of, coming off reckless isolation, going to Hawaii, and then at what stage through that did you qualify?
I think it was like 2 years after
That's what I thought too,
COVID, because I came back and I remember I was like, all right, my surfing's good enough now. Like I can qualify. And then I was kind of like, just thought I could go out and just go like surf and make heats. And then I came back and was on the challenge, or I started doing the QSs, and then I missed it by like one spot. And then I ended up getting like a wild card to do the challengers and just like lost first round pretty much every heat.
I watched that too.
The challengers.
That was painful.
Yeah.
I watched that.
And I was just going, fuck, what's going on? Like I know I'm good enough, but deep down, like I'm not confident that I could do it. And then just kept losing. And I was like, where do I find this? Like how am I going to get confidence? And then I just was like I was just a Grom. I was kind of scrambled brain, kind of lost like mentally. With like my surfing and competitive surfing. And then I started coaching with Tommy Witz a little bit. He was coaching with Griffin. He was kind of just like helping me out, throwing little like comments towards me to help me on the right track. And I kind of knew I needed like I wanted a mental coach to help me kind of just like learn about like mindset and where I'm at and like spiritually and stuff. And then Troy Eckert ended up coming into our lives, working with Griffin and I at the same time. And then once I started talking, we both started talking with him. But once I started talking with him, he kind of helped me find where I get my confidence and how to find it and kind of who I am as a person and what type of scenarios I do the best in, and like my flow state and stuff. And once I started working with him, I found that and just felt like so much better as a human and also as like a surfer.
The psychological end in a sense, right?
Yeah. And then went on the QS, was talking to him, and then ended up winning the QS that year and that's when like Cole, Jet, and Cade were on it. So we were all really competitive with each other, won that, and then went on the challengers, and Cole took off doing really well. Jet and I were both right there. Cade was right there. And then we all were like coming to the last event and all qualified. Jet, Cole, Cade, Eli Hanneman, and I.
Yes.
And then we qualified there, and I just felt like everything kind of like came together exactly how it needed to be. And I just felt like it was like the time I was ready. I matured. I kind of like learned about myself through the whole journey of it. And it just felt like the stars kind of aligned, and it was just like the right timing.
And you qualified at what age?
I think I was 21 and then 21 or 22.
Right in there.
I think I was 21, turned 22 on the QS or on the challengers when I qualified.
And then, so tell me if I'm wrong. So that group came on tour. That was the year that was Griffin, you, Cole, and Cade.
Yeah.
And you guys, all three, you kept through the cut except Cade was this close.
Yeah.
It's so hard for me. I was like, because I like Cade so much. I think
Yeah.
he's such a rad. I think he's awesome.
Yeah.
I think his talent is impeccable. I think surfing is, I don't know what it is, but I just feel like he's such a man that's coming up to be even more of a man. I mean, I just think he's got so much potential. I really do. He's got so much power, and he's just such a good guy. I mean, I just feel like I wish the world for him, because I think he's one of our
San Clementians.
Incredible San Clementians.
Yeah.
I felt so bad when he didn't make the cut. I was really devastated, actually, because I felt for him to be like, you guys made it through and he didn't, and it must have been tough on him, to be back home, and I'd see him, and I'd see him, and I wouldn't really want to go into it. I would just see him and be all stoked to see him or whatever,
Yeah.
But I could tell it was probably a little bit hard to weather that.
For sure.
And then here he is. I believe, like you, I think he's got all the talent in the world to qualify, and I think he's going to do it this year.
Yeah.
I really do. Yeah. And I hope that I feel that Jed has incredible talent, and it's just up to him to, I know he's probably coming through an injury, different stuff, but I feel like Cade's good, right, as far as health?
Yeah he's healthy,
so powerful,
mentally.
So we got there's so much coming. So there you are, you make the tour, and then there's the first season on tour, and then there is the cut, right? And we talked about the cut earlier, but we'll bring it up. It's like there's that, which is kind of this thing that just looms over, like it's your guys' first year on tour, except not Griffin, but your guys' first tour, right?
Yeah.
Your first year on tour. And there's this thing, right? Was it Cole, you, and Cade first year on tour? And then it's like there's this thing looming, and I would even feel it like, oh, God, man, that thing, it's just there. It's like, fuck, we got to get over that hump again. I got to fucking re-qualifier to be on the tour I'm on.
Yeah.
Like, damn, So then it's all about, too, it's like, so how was your experience about that? First year on tour, there's the cut there. Did you feel like you clicked in and enough to feel like how did you feel your first year on tour?
Was definitely going into it like just nervous. I was just like, fuck, how am I gonna perform against these good guys? I finished fourth, so I was gonna come up against like guys in the top 10, and everyone's so gnarly on tour. When you get there, it's like every single heat is like you got to be locked in, you got to surf good, you got to surf smart. So I was pretty nervous, but I was also like, I had Tommy Witz on my side, who's like the best person in my corner, he's the best coach ever. Like, so
Sick.
Grateful for him. And he was telling me before, like, he's like, the cut's not even an option, like he kind of plugged that into my brain, and like was just like plugging that into my brain, and was like you're good enough to make top 10. Like, don't even like think about the cut. Like, you just know you're gonna do it. Like it's not even the cut's not a thing for you. And like I felt like hearing that from him was like really helpful, and it gave me so much belief. And I knew, I kind of was like, well, if you don't make the cut, then you're probably not ready to be on tour. It's obviously hard, like coming onto the tour as a rookie, because you only get 5 events and then the cut happens. So you don't get to
click
in. I felt like Cade
get momentum.
Yeah, Cade went to Bell's and got a quarters, and that's when he started getting his momentum, and like he could have used a couple more events. So I felt like the momentum thing is real for sure.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like my mindset was like, if I don't make the cut, it's not meant to be this year, and I'm meant to go back and come back and get better at surfing. So I kind of had that mentality which helped me. And I also knew like you only have to make 2 round of 16s to make the cut. If you don't do that, you're cooked. Yeah. It's like you probably shouldn't be there.
Exactly. And that's a cool, honest, sincere place to come from, where you just go, hey man, if I can't do that, I probably need to go back to Challenger, right?
Yeah.
So that even like grounds you in a sense, right?
Yeah.
Gives you a little more just in heats going, what?
Yeah.
So then it comes up, and that was after Margaret's, right?
Yeah.
Margaret's was the cut line.
Yep.
And then it just, what happens, and you guys make the cut, but Cade doesn't. And and then now we got the rest of that first year.
Yeah.
And is it fair to say you clicked in, like you did enough to make the cut, but where did you finish at end of that first year? Where did you?
10th. Or before the cut or after?
End of the first year.
10th.
It's a pretty solid first showing, my man.
Yeah.
First year on CT, it's like 10th.
I was psyched for sure. Yeah.
That's phenomenal. I want to say
Thank you.
On camera, congratulations for making 10th of the world your first year. That's amazing.
You. Thanks.
And then, okay, you're welcome. Yeah. And thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Because it's all the entertainment that I need to function. It's like just such an athlete myself. So it's really means a lot to me.
It's fun. Sick.
So then we go back on tour.
Mm-hmm.
And was there an injury or something that happened that kind of thwarted that season a little bit?
Yeah.
Or a lot of it?
Yeah.
How do we look at that? What happened?
Yeah,
there?
I broke my elbow at backdoor.
Early in the... Oh, yeah.
Like 2 weeks before the second season started.
Oh, God. That's like, right.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. I have gray hairs right here.
Oh, 2 week training hard, ready for round 2, made top 10, made 10th in the world.
Yeah.
You know, surfing Hawaii, kabing.
Yeah.
Kaboom.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, man. That was a rough one. But then you came back off the wild card off that at some point in that season, right? You didn't miss the whole season.
I missed 2 events.
2 events.
Yeah.
Okay, so you came back, what would have been...
Portugal.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So I missed Pipe and Abu Dhabi.
That whole Abu Dhabi, what a trip on
Yeah.
that. Wow, that's just wild. You know, but yeah, it's just okay, so you come back to Portugal and you're ready to go, and then that was last season.
Yeah.
And where'd you end up last season?
15th.
Okay.
Which I was really happy with.
Well, yeah, because you missed 2 events.
Yeah.
And you came off an injury, and you came back and got 15th and surfed really good, enough to show the world, like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
Like, I'm in the mix now. So
Yeah.
here we are starting 2026 season with a newly renovated whole restructure of how they're going to run it, right? So I know we've talked about, you know, the cut or whatever, but now we have a fresh season with a fresh outlook, which does kind of go back to old school way. I mean, it's going to end at Pipe, right? And it's not going to be the top 5 at the end. It's going to be everybody in the mix.
Yeah.
With a 1.5 points at Pipeline, which I think for me, I'm juiced up. I'm just juiced up about it.
Yeah.
So what an exciting season to come on. And now we start at Bells, where we've never started at Bells.
Yeah.
We just start at Bells. What a trip that is. And then we go to Margaret's, and then we go to the Goldie?
Yep.
Wow.
Exactly.
That's just just amazing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think, what are we, 3 weeks away from the first, somewhere about,
Yeah.
starts April 1st, right?
Yeah. So.
Wow, this is going to be a real exciting season. I know you're, let's talk a little bit about what you're doing to prepare for that season. I know you talked to me about your training.
Yeah.
A little off camera. Let's do it.
Kind of just been like just getting the body ready, getting the mental side ready. And I feel like those 2 are just like what I'm focusing a bunch on. You know, the waves are pretty lackluster around here. It's been pretty small. So like,
yeah, I've
just been golfing a lot too. So, so I kind of just like wake up, I do my like meditations, and I do everything to get like kind of like my mental side in order and just to feel good. Cause I feel like that's a huge part of our job, is just like to feel good, you know, because when you're feeling good, that's when you're like performing the best. And then I've been pretty much just like training every day and just getting my body in shape as much as I can. So when I come back, like I just feel so strong, you know,
grounded and strong and centered.
Yes. Cause I feel like that's that's so much in surfing, you know, you can really feel when you're strong and on your surfboard, you're like, oh, I feel strong and flexible, and kind of can like power through waves that maybe you can't power through when you're like not training land stuff, you know? So yeah, just been doing that, been golfing a bunch, kind of, that's like our surfing kind of, because we're just competing with each other every day.
And then I do see, tell me if I'm wrong, I've seen that you have been on one hell of a snowboard trip, I'm pretty sure, right? And from what I understand, you also went to see some Olympics.
Yeah, we this off season was like 6 or 7 months, so it was psycho long. We ended up going to Baldface, which was like a strike mission snowboard trip, which was awesome because we never really get to do that. And we love snowboarding. And then we ended up going out to Italy to go watch some of the Olympics with Oakley. So that was pretty sick. We got to watch the men's half pipe final. Oh my gosh, and that was gnarly. Like, watching that, and we watched the girls too, and that was actually really cool too. Like, the girls were actually sending it, and just like some were just eating shit.
I saw that.
Like hard to watch. Yeah. It was hard to. It was like pretty tapped watching that, and just what they're doing and what they're hitting.
Mind blowing.
Like, it was like full like warrior shit.
Full warrior shit. Like, you're watching it, it's going. And I think if like you were there at the event, so like you could see how high in there you're doing. Holy! I mean it's such an edge on the side of the half pipe. It's just so, like, you can just, just
die.
they fly and flip and land, and you're just going, whoa, it's
Yeah.
incredible. Yeah, it just blows my mind. I mean, you don't do that, right?
No. Fuck no.
Like that's so like I don't know. That would just be taking everything and putting it on the too much of a gamble. But
Yeah.
I know you guys basically like snowboard like you surf down the mountain, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. That's what I like to do. Skate and surf. I just when I skate or surf my whole life, I mean skate, surf, snowboard. It's I just fantasize there's a wave right there.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it like.
Yeah.
Like we were growing up, we used to skate down San Pablo when there was no houses on a freshly when it was freshly paved, not a house on that street.
Wow.
Big wide smooth thing. Go up there full moon nights and just surf down this thing,
Sick.
because every other street in town's pretty skinny.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that one was just full.
What street is that?
San Pablo.
Where's that at?
So if you go up, Pedro's Tacos.
Yeah.
Right here, the South Pedro's Tacos, and you keep going up past that church, right?
So
and then all the
white
way,
fence?
huh?
The white fence, like
I don't know.
by Dina's old house?
Well, yeah. If you would turn right and go up toward Dino's old house, you wouldn't turn right. You just keep going up that main street.
Yeah.
Super wide, like stupid. It's like 4 times wide.
Okay. Yeah.
All the way to the water tower.
Sick.
Oh my god. And just so whatever.
Full
Even on there was no house, no cars.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just dreamland,
That's sick.
Anyway, so that kind of thing, and then so let me ask you, who are your top 10 favorite surfers of all time? I'm asking you that, Mr. Crosby Colapinto.
All right. Top 10. Well, I grew up watching Mick, Andy, Joel, Taj. Let's see who else is in there. And then Bruce Irons is in there. And then I think, Ethan Ewing is a good one. Griffin. It's because I really like watching him. Brother, I've grown up surfing with and watching him a lot.
That's 8. Let's get 2 final all-time favorite surfers of all time. Any category, any age, any generation.
Gosh, my mind's going blank.
I know, because there's so many, right? And there's so many eras and this and that. But
I just feel like I didn't really watch past that generation.
Oh, the early, back in like Sean Thompson.
Yeah, well, Aki obviously has the best backhand ever.
Mm-hmm. Are we throwing Aki in there as number 9?
I
mean, not that they're prioritized. We say top 10 could be all, it doesn't have to be this is my favorite, this is my 9th favorite.
And then Tom Curran.
Oh my gosh.
But now I'm thinking more.
That makes a
but
lot of sense.
That's probably it. Like Tom Curran's, and then I forgot Kelly.
You can have 11.
Okay.
Well, Crosby gets his 11 favorite surfers of all time.
He's got 11 world titles, so he's 11th.
Wow, how rad is that? That's rad, yeah. And I mean, it's kind of hard not to throw him in there, but I understand there's so many other influences and reasons why people, as a competitive surfer, right? Not that you just do that. You surf because you love to surf, but I mean, as someone who really does want to win a world title, right?
John.
12, mister. Okay. You can't forget John.
No, you can't.
So I'm just saying it's always intriguing to me to hear different people's, what that is, who that is, why that is. And so then I would say here we are now and we're moving forward and the tour is in front of you. And it's just what an exciting year. 2026, we're 3 weeks away. You leave to Oz in a couple weeks, is that it?
Yeah.
Which puts you there. How many days are you going to be in Bells before you actually?
I'm gonna go over to the Gold Coast and train with Tommy for 8 days before we go over to Bells.
Oh, so you're literally going to show up at Bells about the start of the waiting period?
Yeah. No, it starts up first. We'll show up the 24th, so it'll give us 8 days.
Okay.
Around 6 to 8 days.
Which is perfect.
Yeah.
Right. I just feel so here we are now. And this whole season, the way it's laid out, it just seems so exciting. It just seems obviously we gotta hope that the surf gods produce an epic year of waves.
Always.
We're always just come on.
Yeah.
Have we been good?
Yeah.
It's just because that's a big factor, right? But I think we have good waves on tour. And I think that the only thing that I would say when it comes to that is, the thing with having there's just one contest this year? Is it Abu Dhabi? On a wave pool?
Yeah, Abu Dhabi, but
No more. There's no ranch.
no
Slater's Ranch
no,
out.
No.
Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, who
Because
knows though? That might not even happen now because of all the gnarly
whoa.
war.
Oh, that might not
stuff.
happen.
Yeah,
Kelly,
but maybe who
tune
knows?
up the
like-
ranch. Might be back at the ranch.
Yeah,
No, I
maybe.
mean, it's like, wow, yeah, that's a whole nother curveball we just got. In
I think
last
the ranch
week,
is
right?
better though.
Better wave.
Yeah, I think it's bigger.
And a bigger wave, and yeah, I think the Abu Dhabi thing was a little bit more to just try to introduce surfing to that part of the world or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
Right.
I think so.
But I just got to say, from a position of, there's two things I think about the wave pool thing. Is that it's one part of it's exciting only in the sense that everyone gets an equal playing field, like a skate ramp. Everyone's on the same skate ramp.
Yeah,
It was the same half pipe for everyone at the Olympics.
Yeah.
So the apparatus stays the same.
yeah,
Like if you're in gymnastics and everyone's on the rings, everyone's on the same rings. I like that part of it, right? But I think that the part that's a little bit, for me as a spectator, I find it to be sleeping.
yeah,
It's just, there's no hunt. We're not hunting anymore.
yeah,
There's not that magic of like, oh, Crosby just, whoa, he just saw that. You know what I mean? Like everyone's going to get it, which both sides are kind of cool because everyone gets equal playing field.
yeah,
But then at the same time, it's like I don't know, it's the same wave every time. And then it's just, there's no hunt. There's no kind of like X factor, but I think it's valid for one contest a year. I do. I think it creates a level playing field. I think it's valid to be the world champ. And this is what I love about it. People can moan whatever they want, but what I truly believe is that to be the world champ means you're the best at everything.
yeah,
Right. So it's like, yeah, as much as it sucks, kind of like we want to see you guys in the gnarliest, best, I'm not saying like ship sterns or something, but, Cyclops. I'm not talking about waves like that because that's more of a freak show.
Yeah.
But I mean, just really high quality, like waves that, 4 to 10 foot solid pumping J-Bay, for instance, you're seeing the best surfing in the world. But when it's like somewhere like, I don't know, maybe there's some off the wall beach break in Brazil or somewhere, that isn't really a world-class spot. But then that's the thing. You still got to be good in that stuff,
yeah,
And so that we get the whole kind of a balance of like, this guy's the best surfer in the world this year because his numbers showed that he got the best of the best. And I feel like what they got laid out is a pretty good lineup.
I think it's great. I think having Fiji back on is huge. That's like that's one of the best lefts in the world.
Definitely.
So Snapper's back.
I think
Lowers.
Snapper might be back at almost maybe a little more better time too. I think later is more chance for Cyclones. I think that February thing was hit or miss.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But the way they tuned it up the other way, now it's the third one instead of the first one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah. I feel like it's just so like sand dependent. So hopefully there's just a bunch of sand.
Well, the cool thing is they can.
Yeah, I know.
God,
yeah.
The Rabbit's over there with his team is pumped. It's like, wow, you guys are so gnarly. Like, look what we get. We get, right?
Yeah.
The way they pump our sand, which is just.
Oh, it's so bad.
Whoa. I mean, I'm just watching our waves just fall apart.
I know.
I called it before they started doing the pump the sand here. I thought, I don't know. I don't think that's good for surfing. I think it's good for tourists on the beach.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I think it's going to destroy our waves.
Yeah.
Because it's creating too much of it'll still go back out and then it'll make more, like you see the waves, they just kind of roll in.
Yeah.
There's no punch. There's no lift because
crazy.
it has to go from deep to shallow.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like made it where it's more like a continental shelf.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Anyway,
Fuck.
but yeah,
It's a crazy one.
it really is. So I would just say, main thing is, I want to say to you, good luck on tour this year.
Thank you.
You know I'm going to be watching every heat.
Thank you.
Okay, and I'm just super psyched for what you're doing, and I'm just super stoked to have you on my show, Mister.
Hell yeah, mister.